Well, hi there. My name's Noreen Smith and I'm a Creative Memories Advisor from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I'm really pleased to be here today to share with you a simple technique for making a single page layout from just one piece of double-sided pattern paper. I'm going to be using this gorgeous paper from the Emerald Gemstone collection, and as you can see, both sides are really very attractive. I'm also going to need a couple of pieces of cardstock, one for the base and one to cut into some photo mats. Now you could use any paper for this, but I'm really excited to use the Emerald Gemstone because I love these rich blues, greens, and turquoise. So let's take a look at what we're going to need to make this layout. Now, as I mentioned, I'm just going to be using one piece of the double-sided patterned paper. I'm also going to be using the new Gemstone Border Maker cartridge along with the original Border Maker system. I'm going to be using some blue cardstock to mat my photos, and I'm going to be using some aqua cardstock for my photo base. I will need my 12-inch trimmer with the straight blade. And the only other tool you'll really need is a ruler, and I'm going to be using the new Zero Centering ruler from Creative Memories. This is a great tool to use. You can see that the zero is in the center and then the increments go out from the center to the edge. It's a full 12 inches wide, so it's a really great ruler for scrapbookers to use when they're making their 12 by 12 inch layouts. So I've gone ahead and trimmed my photos down to 3.5 inches square, and I've cut my photo mats from the blue cardstock at 3 3/4 inches square. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere them. You could also use, if you didn't like the idea of using another piece of cardstock to mat your photos, you could definitely use some of the beautiful variety matte packs that would give you some additional texture and color, or you could go ahead and use another piece of the Emerald Gemstone pattern paper or the tone on tone paper. So I have my photos all matted, and now I'm actually going to place them directly onto the pattern paper so that I can make kind of a double mat from it. Now if I place the photos with their blue mat, the blue gets a little bit lost. So I'm actually going to mount my photos onto this side of the paper so that I have more of a contrast. And here's where my ruler comes in. I'm going to want to make sure that I have just 1/4 inch all the way around my photo. So 1/4 inch from the sides, 1/4 inch from the top, and then I'm actually going to trim all of my photos off 1/4 inch below them. So let's go ahead and adhere our photos. So now my photos have that nice 1/4 inch around the top and sides, and now let's trim off at the 1/4 inch mark below the photos. Now on our 12-inch trimmer, if you actually take your ruler and just line it up with the first dashed line, which is the cutting guide, you'll see that the edge of the gray cutting mat is exactly 1/4 inch. So if I place my photos right along the edge of that gray cutting mat, I'm going to have 1/4 inch border all the way around. Okay, so that's my photos done, and we're just going to set this aside. So now we've got this remaining piece of paper that is just about, not quite 8 inches wide, and we're going to use it to make 2 borders as well as some additional sort of frame for our photos. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use the gemstone border, as I mentioned, but you could use any chain border for this. If you haven't used the Creative Memories Border Maker system before, you'll want to slip the cartridge into the housing, and these little teeth will go right inside the notches on the back side of the border. So just match a little line on the front with one of the lines on the Border Maker guide, and you'll feel the teeth just sort of firmly grab into the little notches. And then just go ahead and punch. So you can see that I have my two beautiful gemstone borders punched out, and I still have my remaining piece of paper, not just over 5 inches wide. And again, if you're using the gemstone, that's about the size that you can expect to have left. If you're using a different border punch, your remaining piece will be just a little bit different. And I'm going to go ahead and just trim off 1/2 inch on the short side. So just turn it to whichever side you want to cut off, and we're just going to cut off that 1/2 inch, so right at that marking there. And that's really our only waste, that and the punched out pieces from the Border Maker cartridge. And now, again, just so that I know how much I've got to work with, I actually have 5.5, so I'm going to cut it at 2 inches so that I have a smaller and a larger piece of paper. And now I have all my pieces and I can go ahead and assemble my layout. So to create the layout now, I'm going to take that first small 2-inch border, and I'm just going to place it at the top there, and that's going to be followed by one of my border strips. And I'm not sure which way I will, or which pattern I will have. I could turn it this way, or I might want to leave it this way. Next, I'll put my paper with the photos, my other border strip, and finally my larger piece of paper. Just make that all fit there. And you can see that you get a great look because you've got that nice even 1/4 inch border all the way around. The sides of your paper will match up with the sides of your photos, and then the beautiful borders will kind of act as that frame for the strip of paper that has your photos on it. You could also, if you wanted to, add these little strips in just for a little bit more variety. I know they're a little bit finicky to work with, but I always like to use up whatever pieces of paper I can. So you can see that just with the one piece of paper, some creative cutting, and a little bit of patience and measuring, you can have a beautiful layout with just one piece of double-sided pattern paper. I'm going to add some title stickers and embellishments to this, and I'll be sure to show you the picture finished layout at the end of the video. Thanks very much for joining me today. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.